It's the most wonderful time of the year when Canada's best young hockey talent go from local stars to national heroes.
He scores! Tie game! Can you believe it?
Just a one-man show, Wayne Gretzky.
They score! Lindros!
Legacy with a beautiful stop.
This guy is unbelievable.
Tonight, we count down the best of the best to wear the Canadian jersey at the World Junior Hockey Championship. Team Canada's 40 greatest juniors, next on TSN.
How are you, Canada? James Duffy alongside Craig Button and Bob McKenzie. Tonight we celebrate the 40th anniversary of the World Junior Hockey Championship by naming the 40 greatest Canadians at the World Juniors. 25 experts from across the country voted on it, and I tell you what, it's a tricky list to compile. Put it this way, we put together the top 50 NHL players every single year, and those are guys who are all playing at the same time, and we have this huge body of work to look at. Here you have guys from completely different eras, some of whom only played a handful of games for Team Canada. But we can guarantee you this, if they're on this list, those games were spectacular.
Oh, what a hole! Gets that in front of that shoots goal! Just a one-man show, Wayne Gretzky.
Allison, great work. Backhand shot, he scores!
Jason Allison has been Canada's best player in this tournament.
That man should get most of the credit for this win. Jimmy Waite was sensational.
What a great pass. Eric Lindros just towers above the fence. Short-handed, he scores! What a goal!
Standing series for a good
Legacy with a beautiful stop.
Randy Legacy continues to be the main man for Canada.
What a play by Braden Shen. Wow, Braden Shen really stepping up. Tie game! Can you believe it? The legend, Miles Larkin.
I think you'll see most of those guys over the next hour or so. Here are two of the guys who voted on the list. So here we have almost 700 guys who've played for Team Canada in the 40 years of the World Juniors. How do you measure them against each other and come up with this list?
Well, you know, it's really difficult, and there's a lot of different circumstances. Dale McCourt, for example, he played with his club team from Hamilton, because that's how they used to go to the World Junior, with their club team. Whoever won the championship went. So he was playing with a club team, not even with the best players in Canada, but a top player, obviously. Then you go to a 16-year-old like Wayne Gretzky. Very rare for a 16-year-old to even play in the tournament. To excel is another thing. But I guess for me, I looked at it in terms of who performed at the greatest moments, at the most critical times, and really came up big for Team Canada. And it's not an easy task to get to 40, but we got there.
How did you evaluate it, Bob?
Well, first off, there are no rules, so you just make them up as you go along. It's my list. You get to say whatever you want. It's awesome. But, you know, when I gave more weight to those that did play more than one tournament. But by the same token, I can tell you that Wayne Gretzky and Manny Legacy, two guys that played in just one tournament for Team Canada, were both in my top 10, although the rest of the 8 other guys in my top 10, personally, not the one that, the compilation.
The real list, right, Bob?
The
Yours?
real list, my list. 8 of those 10 guys played in 2 or more tournaments.
Okay, so we'll begin our countdown. We will count you down from 40 to 1. And we'll start the first 10, a group that spans 3 decades, and it includes a Daze, a Fise, and a PK.
Number 40, PK Subban. The double-goal D-man from Toronto was a power play force with 9 points in 6 games as Canada won gold in 2009.
5 in red makes it happen.
Number 39, Drew Doughty. The London, Ontario native made his only World Championship appearance a memorable one, earning the Best Defenseman award and a gold medal in 2008.
Drew Doughty has gotten better every single period.
Number 38, Stéphane Fise. Withstanding a ferocious Czechoslovakian squad on the final day of the tournament, gave the Montrealer 1990 Best Goalkeeper honors and Canada gold.
Are you kidding with that kind of save?
Number 37, Dave Chizowski. Nobody was more dangerous offensively in 1990 than the Edmonton native, who scored goals in a record 6 straight games and accounted for 9 overall.
Chizowski scores!
Number 36, Eric Daze. The Montreal product put his stamp on the Canadian program in 1995, scoring a tournament-leading 8 goals, including 3 versus arch-rival Russia.
Hat trick for Daze!
Number 35, Patrice Brisebois. Back-to-back gold and team leadership in points by a defenseman placed the Montreal native among all-time Canadian blue line elites.
Brisebois takes the shot, they score!
Number 34, Justin Pogge. Fort McMurray, Alberta produces more than oil. It produced the World Junior Championship record holder for most shutouts, 3 in a single tournament.
Justin Pogge shuts it down.
Number 33, Theoren Fleury. The mighty mini Manitoban would not be denied in 1988, earning points in all 7 games.
Fleury scores!
As Canada bounced back from disqualification to win gold. Number 32, Jason Botterill. Of the thousands of players who have played in the World Junior Championship, the Winnipegger is the only one to win 3 gold medals.
Botterill is with him. Botterill, big chance, gets the goal!
Number 31, Chris Letang. The 2007 captain from Montreal led the team in assists, earned points in 5 of 6 games, and won gold for a second consecutive year.
There's the distribution skills of Letang.
Okay, some interesting points in that group. Theo Fleury is at number 33. Is that about right for you, Bob, or do you think he should have been higher or lower?
I had him higher on my list. I had him at number 19 on my own personal list. I thought that group that went over after the Piastani punch-up, that had to be a special group because they were going into Moscow. It was a lot more difficult back then than even now to go over to the Soviet Union and win there. And I just thought that was a redemption year, and the Theo Fleury was certainly at the forefront of that, along with Jimmy Waite.
The neat thing about this list is you see guys who've gone on to become NHL stars, and you see guys who haven't at all. Dave Chizowski is one of those guys who never really materialized as a great NHL player, but how good was he in the World Juniors?
Well, he was dominant, and he was dominant not only in goal scoring, but his skating, his ability to get to the right areas. He was almost unstoppable. Yes, he scored the goals, but he had so many other great opportunities, and he had started that year in the NHL after being the 2nd overall pick, right after Mats Sundin. And when you watch what David Chizowski was able to do against his peer group, against the best group of teenagers in the world, the question comes, why didn't he make it in the NHL? Because he seemingly had everything.
Everybody always wants to know who's not on the list. We can tell you the unlucky position of number 41 belongs to Greg Hoggood, who was also at that punch-up at Piastani and then the redemption year the next year. And he made your top 40?
Yeah, I had him at number 31. But you know what? That's what these lists are all about. The great thing about these lists is standing around the water cooler, if you have a water cooler, and complaining, why isn't this guy on? I mean, I can do that right now. I could be outraged that Boyd Devereaux didn't make it. He was on my list. Chris Draper, Randy Moeller, Greg Hoggood, Jim Sandlak, Nigel Dawes, Mike Craig, John Anderson. Those were almost 10 names that I had on the top 40 that didn't make the list. So, hey, listen, if you see somebody on the list that's not there, join the club.
It's one of the sad things about our generation. Nobody stands around water coolers anymore. Everybody brings their own individual bottles. But that's another segment, Bob. We have 30 more to go as we continue on the top 40 greatest Canadians in World Junior history. Where will one Ryan Getzlaf land in the top 30? He'll join us a little bit later on in the show. Plus, none other than Wayne Gretzky will tell us how much this tournament has meant to Canadians over the years.
It was the first year they started having a national junior team.
Team Canada, gold medal performance.
Jimmy Waite was sensational. It's all over!
Comes to Norris, he scores! Canada has won the gold! Swinging blast for a score! Canada has won back-to-back gold medals.
One of the best records ever for a Canadian team. Savor the moment. It's a golden one for Canada. This time for Canada, it's pure gold. We stand on guard for 4 years of solid gold for Canada. The drive for 5 has arrived.
Canada is on top of the hockey world. Canada brings it home in Vancouver. Dave, this guy
quickly recap from 40 down to 31. Eric Daze at number 36, number 32, Jason Botterill, both from that 1995 team that beat Russia in what would end up being the gold medal winning game for them. In fact, you will find 7 players from that team on the list by the time we've gone from 40 down to 1. That's more than any other team, even the 2005 team from Dakota. And the goalie from that 95 squad begins our countdown from 30 to 21.
Number 30, Jamie Storr. 7 wins, no losses, and 2 gold medals reserve the Brampton, Ontario native a special place among the pantheon of great Canadian puck stoppers.
Oh, what a stop! Robbed him!
Number 29, Ryan Getzlaf. Regina lays claim to the dream teamer who led the 2005 tournament in assists and averaged 1.5 points per game over 2 years.
In alone is Getzlaf. Backhand shot, score!
Number 28, Alex Petrangelo. The King City, Ontario native was king of the score sheet in 2010, earning a share of the Team Canada record for most points, 12 in 1 year by a defenseman. Number 27, Cody Hodgson. An average of 2.7 points per game in 2009 ranks the Markham scoring machine behind only Wayne Gretzky in productivity for a single event.
Hodgson, snap, off the pole and in.
Number 26, Martin Gendron. The teenager from Valleyfield, Quebec had the golden scoring touch, leading Canada in goals on the way to consecutive tournament championships.
Gendron comes in, up there with Botterill going for the front of the net. Scores!
Number 25, Dale McCourt. The first official World Junior Championship was dominated by the team captain from Falconbridge, Ontario, who led the tournament in goals, assists, and points. Number 24, Steve Mason. 2008 is remembered as the year the kid from Oakville, Ontario, fashioned a sensational .964 save percentage and was named tournament MVP.
Mason the save, rebound. Oh, what a stop by Mason.
Number 23, Sidney Crosby. The budding superstar from Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia, became the youngest Canadian goal scorer in 2004.
There it is, Sidney Crosby, his first goal at the World Junior Hockey Championship.
And added 6 goals in 6 games in 2005. Number 22, Shane Corson. 7 goals, 7 assists, and a tournament-leading 14 points in 7 games says it all about the Barrie, Ontario native's Canadian contribution in 1986. Number 21, Mark Stahl. Dubbed the Human Eraser, the 2-time gold medal winner did Thunder Bay, Ontario particularly proud in 2006 when he was named the tournament's best defenseman.
See the quick active stick of Mark Stahl.
And here's Ryan Getzlaf of the Anaheim Ducks. Ryan, your reaction to being on the list of the top 40 greatest Canadians in World Junior Championship history?
Well, I haven't seen the list, but I know who's been through the World Junior process, and it's a pretty big honor for me to be a part of that.
Well, let's see. We have you at number 29. It's not bad. Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with it. I think every player always wants to be higher, but like I said, I haven't seen the list of guys in front of me, so maybe some I'll have objections to.
Describe the experience of playing on that 2005 Team Canada Dream Team, which is generally regarded not only as the best Canadian team ever, but the best team period in World Junior history.
It was, you know what, I have to agree with them in some aspects of that, and being part of it was amazing. It was, to have the amount of guys that we had that were available to play, and the way we were able to come together as a group really quick, and it meant a lot to me, and pushing my career to where it is now.
Take us back to that 2005 gold medal game. You scored the first goal, had a couple more assists in a 6-1 victory. Where does that rank on your list of accomplishments, both from a personal and from a team perspective?
Well, it's definitely up there. I mean, I've played in a lot of Hockey Canada events, and obviously being part of the Olympic team was was a huge one for me. But at that point in my life, I mean, there was no bigger thing for me as a Canadian kid, and playing in that World Juniors and losing the year before, I think it made it even sweeter that year. And, that feeling when I scored the first goal in that game was a feeling that I'll never forget.
Maybe it's that goal, or what do you remember most about wearing the Team Canada sweater at the Juniors?
just how big it was. It was a huge honor for us to be there, and the amount of support. Even when we were in Finland the year before when we lost, the amount of Canadian fans and stuff that are always there, it's a huge tribute to the hockey nature in Canada. And, at that level, like I said, there's nothing bigger than that. It's something that you can rally around, and people enjoy watching the kids that are going to grow to be the future stars.
All right, thanks for this, Ryan. Congrats on being on the list.
Thank you.
All right, ahead on the Top 40 show, we will take a look back at what has made the World Juniors so special for Canadians since it began. Plus, we are halfway to number 1. Who will be named the top Canadian junior of all time? Stay with us. Here's Canada's schedule here on TSN. It begins December 26th. Note the time, 4 a.m. Eastern, an 11-hour time difference to Ufa, Russia against Germany. Then Slovakia as it builds to the Americans on December 30th, and then Russia on December the 31st. Gord Miller will once again be calling the World Juniors for TSN. He's been part of it for 2 decades now. In fact, he was recently recognized by the IIHF with their Paul Loik Award for his outstanding contributions to international hockey. Gord composed an essay for us on the magic of the World Juniors, but since we're going to hear his voice nonstop for the next 2 weeks, he found some other random guy to voice it. Here's Gord to explain.
What is it that makes the World Junior Hockey Championship so special? It's a hard question to answer, but if you had to narrow it down to one thing, you'd probably say passion. That's certainly the case for Canadian fans. Ask anyone who went to the tournament last year in Calgary and Edmonton, or in Saskatoon in 2010, or here in Ottawa in 2009, the last time Canada won gold. Those fans will tell you they witnessed some of the greatest hockey they'll ever see in their lives. That excitement comes from the players themselves. The window to win this tournament is very small. The vast majority of players fortunate enough to play in it will only play once. So to get a sense of what the tournament means, we asked someone who played in one of the very first World Junior Championships, someone who's been a fan ever since. We asked Wayne Gretzky.
In December of 1977, I went to Montreal to play in the World Junior Hockey Championship. I was a 16-year-old kid who had never been away from my family during the holidays. I cried myself to sleep the first night. But then I made my Team Canada debut and realized right away that this was something special.
Gretzky controlling it. Inside the goal line, Gretzky getting set. He shoots. He scores! Just a one-man show, Wayne Gretzky. And gets it again. Gretzky getting set. Oh, what a move. Gets set in front of that. Shoots. Oh, incredible. We should put this one in the Hall of Fame.
Why do we love the World Juniors so much?
On the inboard, there's Mike Craig. Slaney breaking in front. They score!
Is it because it's kids playing for their country over the holidays?
Now going for Bergeron. Rebound. Crosby scores! Sidney Crosby with a beauty.
Sure, that's part of it. But there's more to it than that. It's how it makes us feel. Watching the Canadians in 1982 stand on the blue line and sing the national anthem because the organizers didn't have a copy.
Bradley at the side of the net in front, they score!
Or seeing Wendell Clark scoring Dominic Hasek in 1985 to clinch Canada's first gold overseas.
The celebration erupts at the Canadian bench.
There are tremendous highs and tremendous lows.
Unbelievable. International hockey, according to the rules, this is not permitted.
And yet, Canada bounced back.
Center, here's a chance. Saved by Jimmy Wayne. Oh, what a big save. Jimmy Wayne just got a piece of it. Another shot.
The next year in the Soviet Union, Jimmy Waite turned in a goaltending performance for the ages. That's part of it too. And sometimes that hero isn't a superstar. And maybe this is the greatest moment in his hockey career.
tried to throw it back for Ricci. It comes to Norris. He scores. The game is over. Canada has won the road. Up the boards, Kennedy down. Sweeney flaps and scores. No words to describe the feeling in this crowd, and it's so loud in this place I can't even hear. Gets it, shoots, and Legacy with a beautiful stop.
5 straight gold medals from 1993 to 97, featuring unsung heroes like Manny Legacy in Sweden in 93.
Aaron Gavey might have saved the gold medal for Canada there.
Aaron Gavey, who saved a goal and a gold medal for Canada in 1994.
Botterill is with him. Botterill, big chance, gets the goal.
Jason Botterill, who remains the only player to win gold 3 times.
Boyd Devereaux scores another big goal for Canada.
And Boyd Devereaux, who played the game of his life against the Russians in 1997.
And the drive for 5 has arrived. Canada, World Junior Hockey Champions for the 5th year in a row. Works it back, scores! The Russians are World Junior Champions.
For 7 straight years when Canada didn't win gold, we wondered if we lost our way.
World Junior Hockey Championship.
If maybe our players weren't the best anymore. But then came another run of 5 in a row.
Canada is on top of the hockey world.
With some of the greatest moments in our history, like the Shudo drama in 2007. The overtime win in 2008. And the goal for the ages in 2009. But even in defeat, there is drama. A heartbreaking overtime loss in Saskatoon. An epic collapse in Buffalo.
This stunning collapse has silenced this building.
And an astonishing rally that fell just short in Calgary.
Stromacher spins it, jukes, hit the goal post, rebound, Connolly turned away. Golden goal! Sweden wins the World Junior Hockey Championship.
Some people say that Canada is the only country that cares about the World Juniors. But when we see the players celebrate and see the Swedes welcome home as the conquering heroes last year after winning for the first time in 31 years, we realize that the rest of the world is finding out what we've known for so long, that this tournament, this hockey, is truly something special.
Walks in, we score! Canada's back in!
I know. I felt it, and I still do.
Downey reaches, Waits plays it across, shooting, score! Jonathan Taves!
In 2005, Gretzky presented the championship trophy to Mike Richards in Grand Forks, North Dakota, as Richards led the greatest Canadian junior team ever assembled. Afterwards, Richards said when the gold medal game came around, he could barely remember the beginning of the tournament. But when it was over, he knew he'd remember it for the rest of his life. That is what keeps us coming back.
Terrific job by Gord and by number 99. Still to come on the show, we count you down 20 to number 1 as we see who is the greatest Canadian junior of all time. Reviewing number 30 down to 21, a group consisting of 6 current NHLers, including number 29 Ryan Getzlaf and number 23 Sidney Crosby. Both won Stanley Cups within 4 years of their World Junior gold back in 2005. And now to the top 20. We'll start with 20 to 11, a group that, well, they were all World Junior superstars, but only a couple of them have attained that status in the National Hockey League.
Number 20, Todd Harvey. The 1995 Dream Team captain from Hamilton bled red and white and scored goals in 6 straight games, completing a 2-year tournament run that featured nothing but gold.
Todd Harvey puts Canada on top.
Number 19, Martin Lapointe. Exemplary team play and leadership over 3 tournaments spoke volumes about the '93 captain from Ville-Saint-Pierre, Quebec.
Lapointe buried it.
Number 18, Jerome Iginla. An unstoppable force for Canada, the Edmontonian earned twice as many points as any teammate along the way to 1996 Best Forward honors.
That's a hat trick for Iginla.
Number 17, Marty Murray. The pride of Deloraine, Manitoba, won gold twice and was phenomenal in '95, earning points in all 7 games, including 8 in Canada's final 3 crucial games.
Marty Murray, the leading scorer in this tournament.
Number 16, Marc Denis. A 2-0 shutout gold medal win over the USA in 1997 and Best Goalkeeper award put an exclamation mark on the Montreal native's 2-year junior career with Canada.
Big stop by Denis.
Number 15, Brian McCabe. St. Catharines, Ontario beamed with pride in '95 when its native son scored 12 points in 7 games and was named the championship's best defenseman.
McCabe with a rocket.
Number 14, Jeff Carter. Only 4 forwards in tournament history have made the All-Star team in back-to-back years, and this pure goal scorer from London is the only Canadian among them.
Here comes Carter with a shot. He scores!
Number 13, Carey Price. The 2007 tournament MVP put Anaheim Lake, BC on the world hockey map with a performance for the ages, headlined by a .961 save percentage over 6 victories.
Carey Price with an unbelievable save.
Number 12, Braden Shen. The stats line says it all for the 2011 tournament MVP from Saskatoon. A Canadian single-year high 18 points in 2011 and 26 points in 13 career games for a 2 points per game average.
Braden Shen opens up one-timer, boom.
Number 11, Dion Phaneuf. 2 years of menacing play on the blue line earned the Edmonton defenseman back-to-back All-Star nods and a place in all-time Team Canada lore.
It's a double Dion.
Recapping 20 through 11. Boy, I was just watching that '95 game where Canada ended up winning the gold medal against Russia. Todd Harvey was so good and such a leader on that team, the captain, such a great character. He's at 20, 94, 95. Jerome Iginla is a perfect example of a player on this list who probably is hurt by the fact he only played the 1 year. If he'd gotten to play 1 more year as a 19-year-old, instead he was in the NHL, he might have been much higher on the list. Which brings us to the top 10. Now consider for a moment what these guys have accomplished. First, they had to beat out the best juniors and the best college players in the country to make the team that particular year. Then they ended up being the best players on their Team Canada. Then they dominated against the rest of the best players in the world. And then you took that performance and put it up against 40 years of great Canadian performances, and these were the 10 best. That is exclusive company.
Number 10, Jimmy Waite. The Sherbrooke, Quebec native holds the record for most wins by a Canadian goalie. None of the 9 victories stands out like a 38-save gold medal clinching win over the USSR in 1988.
Jimmy Waite was sensational.
Number 9, Patrice Bergeron. Ancienne Lorette, Quebec watched its most famous offspring shine brightest on the best Team Canada ever as the consummate center won 2005 tournament MVP honors.
Patrice Bergeron, flash and dash.
Number 8, Jonathan Toews. The double gold medal winner from Winnipeg was so much more than a shootout specialist, but he was immortalized as a result of 3 pressure-packed shootout goals against the USA in 2007.
This guy is unbelievable.
Number 7, Ryan Ellis. The all-time World Junior Championship career leader in defenseman assists was a power play dynamo, representing Hamilton with distinction over 3 tournaments.
For Ryan Ellis, his skill level is so high.
Number 6, John Tavares. 8 goals in 6 games, including 3 in a New Year's Eve Classic against the USA, propelled the Mississauga, Ontario junior phenom to the 2009 Tournament MVP award.
The John Tavares show lives on.
Number 5, Manny Legacy. 58 saves versus Finland December 30th, 1993, provided the backbone for gold and placed the Toronto native among the greatest single-game performers in Team Canada history.
Manny Legacy continues to be the main man.
Number 4, Jason Allison. The peerless playmaker from Toronto was first in tournament assists and points in '95 to complete a sensational 2 years of nothing but gold.
This is classic Jason Allison.
Number 3, Wayne Gretzky. Leading the 1978 tournament as a 16-year-old in goals, assists, and points, announced to the hockey world at large what Canada already knew, that the kid from Brantford, Ontario, was about to embark on hockey's greatest career.
Here's a 16-year-old hockey player that's got the brains of a 30-year-old soul.
There are not many lists of the greatest hockey players where Wayne Gretzky is not number 1. He's number 3 on this list, but which is still incredible considering he played one tournament as a 16-year-old, correct?
Well, he wasn't originally on the list for Team Canada. Billy Derlego, the Brandon Wheat Kings, got hurt. And Wayne Gretzky was a replacement. Ernie McLean was phoning Muzz McPherson. How good is this kid? Well, when he got to the tournament, everybody found out real quick. The only 16-year-old to ever lead the tournament in scoring. And who knows what he would have done as a 17-year-old. But, oh, yeah, he was in the WHA, and then at 18 he was leading the NHL in scoring. Unbelievable performance. That's when he put himself on the radar. I was in Montreal watching it, and it was unbelievable to see what this young man was capable of doing.
That was the first time I ever saw Gretzky play a game of hockey. He was on television at the 1978 World Junior Championship.
It would not have been fair to let him play as an 18-year-old or 19-year-old in this tournament. It would have been absolutely ridiculous. Jason Allison was, almost as dominant as Gretzky was in his tournament, in Jason Allison at his prime.
Yeah, he was obviously older in different circumstances, but Jason Allison had dominant back-to-back tournaments, 1994 in Ostrava in the Czech Republic and 1995 in Red Deer. And while he gets a lot of claim and fame for leading the 95 tournament in assists and points, I actually thought it was the 1994 tournament where he was the dominant player. And I can remember doing color commentary in the games with Paul Romanek at the time. And as I was watching the games, I was thinking to myself, my goodness, I've never seen a player dominate the World Juniors, at least from the Canadian perspective, the way that Jason Allison was dominating that tournament in 1994.
What does it say about Manny Legacy's performance that he only played for Team Canada 1 year, but it was good enough to have him number 5 on our list?
Canada doesn't win the gold in 1993 without the heroics of Manny Legacy. The Swedish team was loaded. I mean, Forsberg, Sundström, Naslund, Kenny Jonsson. I mean, it was an unbelievable team. And he not only had a great performance against the Swedes, but against the Finns as well.
Yeah, 58 shots against the Finns. I think it was high 30s against the Swedes. And you're right about the Swedish team. That was a really young Canadian team. Had young Alexander Daigle, Chris Pronger, Robbie Niedermeyer, Paul Correa, all these draft-eligible guys, and nobody really gave them a chance to win. And the reason that they won, in large part, were those 2 games in particular against Finland and Sweden. Manny Legacy was unbelievable.
Maybe those games, if we just voted on the single greatest individual performances in a game, Manny Legacy might be at number 1. But there are 2 names that are left on our list. We will find out who are number 1 and number 2, and yes, you've probably done the calculations by now. 2 worthy candidates left. Who will be the best Canadian player in the history of the World Juniors? We'll find out next. And there they are, Jonathan Toews and Patrice Bergeron, of course, at 8 and 9. Won gold together for Canada at the 2010 Olympics. And the 2 goaltenders you see there, Legacy in 93 and Jimmy Waite in 87 and 88, both remembered for stand on their head gold medal game performances. Well, Canadian hockey fans are very knowledgeable, so you've done the math. You likely know the 2 names that are left. 2 completely different hockey players. One had a never-before-seen combination of power and skill. The other just seemed to score goals every single time Canada really needed it. Here are your top 2.
Number 2, Eric Lindros. The London, Ontario native and massive impact player made his presence felt every which way over 3 tournaments, winning 2 gold medals and scoring a Team Canada career record 31 points.
Watch what Eric Lindros does.
Including 17 in a 1991 Tour de Force. Number 1, Jordan Eberle. Nothing says more about a player than his ability to produce under pressure. And it can be said that Regina produced the greatest pressure performer in Team Canada history at the World Juniors. That he scored a team record 14 goals is one thing. that he scored them at the most important moments puts him in a class all by himself.
So there you have it. Now imagine for a second if John Carlson had hit the post or missed the net in overtime in Saskatoon in 2010 and Canada had somehow won that game. What would Jordan Eberle's legacy and legend be then, considering he scored 2 late goals to tie it? Didn't happen. Sarah Orlesky spent some time and went over some of Jordan Eberle's greatest World Junior moments.
Boychuk looking for it. Tavares pulls it out. Tavares backhand towards the goal. Loose puck. Eberle scores! Tie game! Can you believe it?
It was just like chaos. I mean, the last little bit of the period, you're just trying to, make a play. Ryan Ellis makes an unbelievable play right here to keep it in and pokes it on the boards. And, like I said, you're just trying to get a puck on net. And I think John Tavares kind of gets in right here. Even Hodgson lifts his stick, and I kind of was just in the right place at the right time and got it to my backhand and put it in. It was, I don't really remember after much of that. I got hit pretty hard, but I just remember how loud it was in that building. It was pretty amazing.
Jordan Eberle starts the shootout. Eberle in score!
I knew that, if I got to my backhand quick enough, he was going to kind of poke check. And sure enough, he just jiggles his stick right here, and I knew it was coming and just got to my backhand quick enough. So you're obviously pretty excited. And I'd seen Johnny Taves jump in the bench, so I had to do that too. Definitely one of the fondest memories of my career. We had iced it kind of earlier with a couple empty nets, and we knew it was over, but there's so much pressure as a Canadian on you by the fans, the media. When you put on the Maple Leaf, you're expected to win. So your excitement level when you finally do, there's nothing better. You get into a certain situation where you're down by a goal and there's 6 attackers. You're just throwing pucks on net and see what happens. And it was the same thing. We won a couple battles along the wall, and it kind of just popped to me. And probably the luckiest goal I've scored in my career. I just shot it on net. I think it went off a stick and a skate and went in the net, and I couldn't believe it. It was like, holy, we did this again. It was shocking. I think I did the same celebration. Ran skated to the corner and got hammered again by the boys. And if there would have been another 2 minutes left, I think we would have won the game. We had so much energy and momentum that it was a shame that they had to, stop and clean the ice and go into overtime.
And now Kadri back the other way. It's a breathless pace here in overtime. Kadri with Bork. Pietrangelo shoots. Carroll save on the puck. Scores down the front. 3-on-1. In comes Carlson with Steppen and Ramage. Carlson in shoots. Scores! John Carlson scores in overtime, and the United States has won the World Junior Hockey Championship.
We went after them. I think what happened was it was a 3-on-2, and we ended up just losing the puck, and they went back down 2-on-1. So I was on the bench. I could see that you could almost see the short side open, and Carlson put it in, and you just put your head down. But I was happy that we went after the goal instead of sitting back. So it was tough for sure.
And typical of the great players, he says he thinks a lot more about that loss than any of the many victories he had. And here is the complete resume, and it's astonishing. Only player from Team Canada to score points in every single game he played. That included, by the way, pre-tournament games. And his 12-point streak, 5 games longer than any other Canadian. And look at the last 3 games every year when the stakes were the highest. 5 goals in each one of those years, 2009 and 2010. And here is Jordan Eberle. 683 players have represented Canada at the World Junior Hockey Championship, and you are number 1 among them. Your reaction to that honor?
Was shocked. It's such an honor. I think if they handed me the list today, and I kind of went down the names, and there's some pretty good hockey players. I mean, Wayne Gretzky, Sidney Crosby. to be atop the list, it's pretty amazing. Team Canada is pretty special. I mean, you get a chance to play for the Maple Leaf. I got to do it twice in Canada at the World Juniors. It was something I'll never forget, and obviously a lot of fun memories to go with it.
You say shocked, but with everything you accomplished in that sweater, you had to know that you were somewhere near the top of the list.
You know what? You don't really think about it at the time. I kind of heard about it a little bit over Twitter that you guys were doing this, and I thought maybe I'd bump in somewhere. But like I said, there's some pretty good names on there. It's nice to be a part of that.
Yeah, you bumped in somewhere. If you had a vote and you couldn't vote for yourself, who would be in the running to be number one on your ballot?
A couple guys jumped to mind. John Tavares, who I played with in Ottawa, he was incredible that tournament. He single-handedly pretty much brought us back against the United States. And another guy that I got to watch, playing the World Juniors was Jonathan Toews. I remember a shootout, and it was pretty incredible to do that 3 times in a row. It's pretty tough. So those 2 guys for sure jump out.
Of all your personal accomplishments in 2009 and 2010, and there were a bunch of them, is there one that you are most proud of?
For sure, winning the gold medal. That was amazing. To do it in the capital in Ottawa, and the fashion that we did it, beating the Russians in the semis, and then the Swedes in the final was pretty special. So there's a lot of pressure playing as a Canadian. I mean, second isn't good enough, and there was almost like a monkey off your shoulder. There's a little pressure off when you finally see the clock ticking down, and you get to sing at the blue line. That was one of my fonder moments to this point in my career.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. You're a team guy, but is there one personal moment, one goal, perhaps the goal against Russia, or maybe the shootout goal in the same game? Is there one of those moments that you're most proud of?
I think definitely. I mean, the goal against the Russians was pretty special. I think looking back on it now that I've had a little bit of time off and you see the pictures and stuff, I think the coolest thing is you see the people's faces in the crowd and how excited they are. I mean, that's Canada. They love their hockey and they're passionate about it. And to give our team a chance to win and moving on to the final was something that I'll always remember.
You have it on again today for us, but what does it mean to wear that Maple Leaf for Canada?
Hockey's our game. In Canada for the World Juniors, it's a tradition to watch it at Christmas. For me, that's how it was. I'd right after Boxing Day, I was settled in and to see how they were doing, and finally get a chance to play at the World Juniors was a dream come true for me. Like I said, I got to do it twice in Canada, and not many guys have gotten to do that. So, every time I put on the Maple Leaf, it's special, and hopefully there's more to come.
You're going to be reminding your teammate and buddy Taylor Hall, who did have 12 points in 6 games for Canada, that not only are you number 1 on this list, but he's not on it at all?
It's the first thing I looked for to see if he was be on it, but he's been giving me a hard time over Twitter. I know deep down he's a little mad, but me and Taylor played really well together in Saskatoon, and he always mentions that he was one of the youngest guys to play and do well, and Taylor's got a lot of accolades too, so he's doing okay.
So fair to say you might bring it up once or 100 times over the next few years?
Yeah, we definitely have a friendly competition, whether it's playing cards or things like this, or even bowling the other day. It's we want to beat each other, and I think that's what makes us both competitive people and good buddies.
All right, thanks for this, Jordan. Look forward to seeing you back on the ice with the Oilers soon.
Thanks, sounds good.
And TSN is making a $5,000 donation to the Hospitals of Regina Foundation on behalf of Jordan Eberle, your greatest Canadian World Junior player of all time. He was number 1 on 12 of 25 ballots. We know he wasn't number 1 on yours. You had Wayne Gretzky number 1. Was he number 1 on yours, Bob, and why?
He was number 1 on mine, and the reason why, I mean, everybody remembers what happened in Ottawa, the goal against the Russians, the shootout, Canada winning the gold medal. But I can remember very clearly that the loss in 2010 in Saskatoon to the Americans, there were a number of times during that game when he scored late to tie it up, a second goal of the game, a number of times in overtime when he was making something happen. And I was sitting with you, James, watching the game, and I was thinking to myself, this is the most clutch performance I've ever seen from any individual player where I've been at the World Juniors. So this wasn't a cerebral exercise for me so much as I just went back to that moment, and all the World Juniors that I've seen dating back to 1986, I just thought, this is the kid that when the games meant the most and the biggest stage, he took it to another level.
Eric Lindros comes in at number 2. Is it fair to say when he came to the World Juniors, we'd never really seen a World Junior player like him?
Yeah, well, hockey really hadn't seen a player with that combination of power and skill, and he wasn't afraid to assert himself and impose himself. It had to be a frightening exercise for opponents to see this man coming at you the way he did. And, I mean, he was terrific, all-time points leader for Team Canada. But to Bob's point on Jordan Eberle, you know, Eric didn't seem to have any of those defining moments in those key games, whether it be Stefan Facette in Finland, John Slaney in Saskatoon. Eric just never seemed to have that moment as great as he was in the tournaments.
So you sort of touched on it, but that's what made the decision, Eberle over Lindros for you. It wasn't the skill or anything, it was just those clutch moments?
Yeah, I had Lindros in my top 10, but again, I think when I look at Gretzky and what he did as a 16-year-old, when I look at Eberle's body of work over 2 years, just the clutch level, individual effort, I suppose, for me, won out.
Yeah. Well, I laugh when he says, I guess I was lucky to be in the right place. It's amazing how the best players and the clutch performers are always in the right place at the right time.
I had Eberle number 1 as well, and no question whatsoever.
Now you know what the IIHF has got to do? Because it wouldn't be a TSN exercise. 40 greatest players of World Junior history, never mind the Canadians. And I think a Canadian wouldn't be number 1. It would be Peter Forsberg or Robert Reichel.
Well, if the lockout goes on much longer, we'll probably be doing that show as well, Bob, so
Could
don't
be.
worry about it. But we have some other stuff to do, and that would be the World Junior Hockey Championship 2013 version. First, some pre-tournament action for you. It begins on Thursday, Canada versus Finland, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, and you'll get a look at the Americans and the Swedes, two of the other favorites, at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. Then on Saturday, another doubleheader, up early, 6 a.m. Eastern, 3 a.m. stay up late Pacific, Finland versus USA, and then Canada versus the defending gold medalist Sweden, Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. And then it begins Boxing Day, Canada versus Germany, then they play Slovakia, and then note the last two, the Americans and the Russians, and also note the times, 4 a.m. Eastern time for most of those games. And will we have to adjust the list? Who will be the heroes for Team Canada at the 2013 World Juniors? Thanks for watching here on TSN, Canada's sports leader.